Hey, I want to tell you about RacerX's latest promo that they have going on. If you subscribe or renew today, you're going to get some awesome stuff. You're going to get a RacerX trailer sticker and a license plate frame. Obviously, you get the 12 print and digital issues. It's just $30 a year. You get a super sweet license plate frame and obviously the trailer sticker to let everybody know that you rep and read the greatest brand in Moto. Go to racerxonline.com/Moto Marketing and subscribe there. Hey, I want to tell you about Moto Brand. Moto Brand was founded during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic when the sport that we live for was taken from so many of us, whether it's cycling or moto, waking up on a Saturday morning knowing that your local track was closed, there would be no Supercross, and for many of us that we couldn't even hit our favorite local riding spot or trail with our crew. We are forced to be reminded of how much the sport of moto and cycling truly means to us. Moto Brand represents a collection of individuals that not only ride, but live to ride. It's what we think of at all times of the day, and sometimes at a detriment to your relationship with your significant other. It's for those that look at their motorcycle or their bicycle as part of their identity. Maybe it's the way that you bond with your son or your daughter or your spouse. Perhaps it's your way to blow off stress of your day job, or even, hey, it is what it is, maybe even it's your marriage. This sport is more than just a sport. For many of us, it's a way of life. It's what keeps us ticking. It's what keeps us living. Moto Brand was created for a purpose, to be more than just a shirt that you can throw on in the morning, but these designs represent who you are and what you stand for. So I encourage you to head over to the motobrand.com, check out our collection. We have a pedal collection and we have a throttle collection, and there are more designs to come that stand for something. So head over to motobrand.com and we'll see you there.
Welcome to the Moto Marketing Podcast, presented by RacerX, the podcast for moto industry professionals, entrepreneurs, and riders. If you want to grow your brand and business in today's digital-first world, you have to know how to turn a stranger into a fan, turn a like into a customer. You have to know how to turn attention into dollars. This podcast is dedicated to keeping you in the know on real marketing tactics that work in the moto world so that you grow your business and help grow the sport. Get ready to learn from the very same marketing experts trusted by RacerX, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, GNCC, and NBC Sports. They'll help you navigate the world of digital marketing for your moto brand. This is the Moto Marketing Podcast. Presented by RacerX.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Nessler. We got a special guest for you today. We have Kevin Moranz, number 85, with us. And, man, I'm excited to dive into this. We're recording this on Wednesday. It's going to go out. You're going to see it probably the day after it goes out. So you're watching this just before Indy. If you're watching it as it came out, you're watching it before Indy. And Kevin's got some exciting stuff going on, and I'm looking forward to hearing about it. So, Kevin, welcome to the show, man. I'm excited to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. There's a little bit, there's a little bit of a delay. You still got us all right?
Yep, we're
cool.
Good.
All right, awesome. So, man, what kind of piqued my interest with you was I follow you on Instagram, and we'll get into Pulp Fantasy and what that's done for the privateer. So I've heard your name there. Stemmed to me to follow you on Instagram, and then I started to see this thing you were doing right before the season came out, really pushing a program to get potential businesses interested in sponsoring you involved in a unique and creative way with your helmet. And then I kind of went down the rabbit hole and have just kind of looked at some of your past videos and one you just dropped today. And man, you approach this privateer thing with such a business mindset to where I feel like you get what's important to a business person. You're giving people like myself some unique and creative ways to get involved with your program, and you even have a way for just fans that might not own a business to get involved with your program. Let's kind of speak to that, if you would, and let people kind of know where all this came from, because I think you're doing some things a little bit different than most privateers.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if people watch on YouTube or whatever, but like I'm smiling ear to ear just hearing you talk about it.
That's awesome.
Just because like I take so much pride in everything that I'm doing. So like obviously like I'm in my mom and dad's house right now. So like my parents have always been behind me, like since day one. Obviously, I think any racer can say that they would not be anywhere without their family. So they support me on, obviously giving me a place to stay when I come back home whenever I'm in town, because I'm not in town very much. That's why I obviously haven't moved out yet. But just that support is huge for me. But as like financially, they're not as involved as they were when I was younger. So ever since I was about 17 years old, I've been fully funding my own program on my own, like pretty much 100%. They do help me with like, obviously a place to stay. Like they kind of pay my phone bills and stuff like that. So I don't have as many bills, which is nice. But when it comes to racing expenses, like you guys all know how expensive that stuff can get really quick, especially as a privateer. So these kind of different programs that I put together, like if anybody's listening right now, all you have to do is go to kevinmoranz.com and just hit the Join Moranz Racing tab. And that's like the cool little idea behind it is, as a privateer and as a racing Supercross athlete, whatever you want to call it, we travel so much that it's super hard to sit down and have meetings with people, because clearly as a business person, like say you owned a business or whatever, it's a lot easier to sell a sponsorship on my side if we meet face to face and we can talk.
Yeah.
But as a Supercross traveling athlete and whatnot, it's really tough to do that. Can you guys still hear me?
Yep. Yeah, we got you.
Okay. So this is a creative little program that allows, say, somebody that, loves watching me on TV, loves my journey, like my grind, I guess you'd say, and just likes watching on TV. It's as easy as sending a link to them checking it out. It explains pretty much what you're getting into.
All right. So for where we kind of lost you, for somebody like you that's traveling and it's harder for you to do in-person meetings with sponsors, you've got this unique program that you've set up, but kind of letting me dive in on it a little bit. Something you're doing different than a lot of other privateers that are on the same journey. You clearly see the importance of social media and Instagram, and man, your stuff is clean. You're super well spoken, so that obviously helps, and I think that's kind of a natural gift. But beyond that, you're consistent. You're sharing your journey. You're posting the content. You're promoting the sponsors, which I think a lot of athletes use the excuse of, I'm an athlete, I don't have time for that, but then they don't have the sponsor support. You've done both. So talk to me a little bit about that program and the importance that your Instagram or maybe any other social platform that you have, plays a role in that.
Yeah. And we're back on, right?
Yep. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So like the biggest thing that nobody really realizes it. Like if I could video what my day looks like every day, like people would be probably astonished, because like I get up and I don't stop moving until I go to bed.
Yeah.
But I love it. I absolutely love like the little journey, everything that I'm doing. I take so much pride in it, just because I'm completely doing everything on my own. When it comes to like the social media stuff, like I do all that stuff myself, all my whole website. That's 100% myself. I built that myself. I didn't pay anybody or do anything. I just sat there, played with it and learned. So it takes a lot of time. And I have a lot of knowledge now from playing with things like that. But yeah, like that's the biggest thing is getting people involved and keeping people, like you said, keeping consistent, keeping people updated. Like people, as a Supercross racer, trying to put myself in somebody else's shoes that's just watching it, the more consistent content you get, and for somebody like me that's like kind of got a backstory, it's not like I'm just riding for Monster Energy, Pro Circuit Kawasaki. I'm riding for Kevin Moranz and the people that support Kevin Moranz, and I wouldn't be able to do it without those people. So like, showing my journey of me trying to make everything come together and work is a lot more entertaining than a lot of other riders are capable of, I guess.
What are the ways that you show that journey? Obviously you have your Instagram. Is that your main way of kind of putting your story and your narrative out there? Or
yeah, I would have to say so. Yeah. Instagram, I'm really good with Instagram. I understand Instagram pretty well. I work in with Facebook as well. I'm on Twitter. Not a big fan of Twitter, to be honest. I don't understand it as well. Let's put it that way. Same with like TikTok. Like I made a TikTok and I know that was supposed to blow up and it did blow up, but like I'm pretty consistent with Instagram and Facebook. So that's just another thing on top of the million other to-do list things I have to do, is becoming more consistent on the other platforms.
Yeah, for sure. So man, you've got such an entrepreneurial mind, like getting up and you don't stop moving until you go to bed. I mean, it's what any business owner that creates something from nothing and turns it into something big. That's the same mindset they have. What are some of the ways that you're, I don't know, balancing? I mean, did you rip on the track? Like you've made every main event except the one, and you would have been in that. You had, a little bit of a mishap. So it's not like you're a back of the pack guy. Like right now, your goal is what top 5, top 10? Like we're
consistent top 10, dude.
Yeah.
Like my biggest goal coming into this year was 100% to crack the top 10. Like that was my goal for 2021. And to knock that out of the park at round 3 is huge. Especially like what excites me too is like, dude, I had 5 days on a Supercross track before round 1. So I had minimal prep.
That's wild.
So like it comes down to like, obviously I was in the gym the whole time, but riding a dirt bike is different than being in the gym.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm struggling right now in the main events is like later in the main events, I'm starting to get tired. So it's like, I have to race myself back into shape. But that's what like, it makes me smile, dude, is like, we've done really good with minimal prep. So like it shows the potential that I have, and the goal is to eventually get on a factory ride, hopefully, but it shows the potential, the work ethic that I have, that if things were pretty much taken care of for me, so I don't have to do as soon as I wake up to as soon as I go to bed, continue moving to make the program work. I really think that like my potential is way up there.
So the minimal amount of prep, does that come from all the grinding that you're having to do to put these sponsor deals together, to create the Instagram content? Like, what does that look like, and how in the hell do you balance that with being as prepared as you are for Supercross?
Correct. So like because I've done this for 4 years now, or since I was 17, I'm 21 now. So 4 or 5 years. The biggest thing is just organization. So like, I'm kind of a neat freak to an extent. So I like everything being really organized, and like every night before I go to bed, I make a to-do list of what I have to do the next day. That way I can wake up and just get to going. So The biggest thing is time management, which that's probably one of the biggest things I've learned throughout my little career and everything that I've been doing is just, setting things up, knowing what you're doing instead of just going into them not knowing what to do, because that's how you waste time. So yeah, it's just like, obviously the gym and riding is the most important thing. So everything outside of that is, I've been working on my faith a lot too, as of lately. So like those 3 things, and then just trying to fit everything else in between those. So like when you wake up, I'm kind of an early bird too. Like I don't sleep in, even if I wanted to, I just don't think I can.
You're right.
So like I'll wake up, just start sending emails, like touching base with sponsors, keeping everybody informed. Because that's another really big thing I've learned is, dude, that's one thing that I'm blown away that a lot of racers don't do, is just keep in contact with their sponsors and the people that support them, showing them that like they mean a lot. Like, dude, I could not do my racing without the people that support me. So like taking time to send them thank yous, like handwritten letters, signed autograph, jerseys and number plates, like cool stuff that like that makes them happy, means that they're going to continue supporting. Does that make sense?
For sure, man. That's one of the biggest things, just with the nature of what I do for a living, because it's not this podcast. A lot of our clients and just other brands in the space that we've gotten to know, man, the conversations, one of the biggest topics we talk about on this show is sponsorship. And we've brought brands on, we brought athletes on, we brought influencers on. And one of the biggest things that I have found hard to believe are some of the messages that I get from brands that people look to sponsor them, and it's almost like this sense of entitlement. Like, and some of them are professional athletes that race Supercross that are at the privateer level, sending them a message, just kind of like expecting to get free stuff because they race Supercross, or even on the amateur level, how they think that the whole thing works. They don't understand that it's a business transaction, and that you've got to provide something in exchange. But then even when you get that support, the lack of appreciation is mind-blowing to me, to where you just said it, man. A lot of these people don't keep in touch with their sponsors. So you doing the little things like a handwritten note, it's big, man. And then so I watched, might have been your last video about the last helmet sponsor. It was the Hawaiian candy company, and
Obachans,
Obachans, and I'd never heard of Obachans, and I don't know how Obachans found Kevin Moranz, but now I know who they are, and you held up your end of the deal and you promoted them on social, and you kind of talked about who they were and the candy and how, it tastes really good. And so that, I mean, where did that come from? Obviously, you just get it. It just clicks for you. But, you've put the structure together for this program as far as like, okay, sponsor, this is what you're going to get. Put together a code. I'm going to do this on social. Like, how did all that come together? Has it always been a part of your program? Was that something new for this year?
No. So that was something that I brought into effect last year because like my biggest thing is, and obviously based off of last year, and we're just like snowball effect, keep getting better and getting better. And like I'm starting to get more support, which is huge. But it was kind of, like I said, like that's one thing I take a lot of pride in is getting creative, right? So the problem that I had last year is I didn't have a whole lot of support when it comes to like financially, right? So like I had sponsors and products and stuff for the race bikes and the bikes and stuff. Like, okay, I could handle that to an extent. But like the financial situation of a mechanic, how are you going to get the mechanic to the races? Where's the mechanic going to stay? How are you getting to the races? Where are you staying? Parts, just like all this stuff. Cause like I'm a part of Team TPJ, which is the TPJ Fly Racing team. So like they transport all my stuff, but I provide my bikes. I provide the parts that goes on the bikes to an extent. Like they have some sponsors that help out, but a large majority of it's on me. So dude, I could go down the list. Like you got training, then you got off the bike training, you got food, you're trying to eat healthy. Like there's so many expenses that go into it that I was like, okay, to do this realistically, we need to get creative and provide, and like exactly like you said, provide something to a sponsor. So then it creates incentive for them to be a part of my program. Yeah. So that's when I came together with like the helmet wrap idea. And it came together like right before Supercross. So I was like, okay, first round was the St. Jude race. And I was like, that's perfect. Like we'll just donate the helmet to St. Jude to be a cool little deal. And then we actually ended up getting some TV time for it. And they did an interview on me, which kind of blew up the idea. And then it just kind of snowballed effect from there. So like, I think the biggest thing is just having the mindset of continuously moving forward and trying new things, because like nobody really did that before me. Like, yes, people were selling spots on their helmets and everything, but they weren't doing a full helmet wrap package different every round. Yeah. So like that built really well for me last year, and it's continuing into this year. So in the off season is when I spent like honestly about 3 weeks creating the new program that I just dropped today on over like social media and everything, which is the way to get fans involved or even sponsors involved as well. Like if anybody just likes or enjoys watching my content and enjoys watching my journey, they can go to kevinmoranz.com, hit join Moranz Racing. And it's really easy for them to get cool benefits out of supporting me, but support me on a monthly level. And it can be anywhere from $5 to $100 to more. You know what I mean? So like, no doubt. It's very affordable and it's a creative way to, again, make my program work.
Yeah. And that's what I appreciate about it is that it is a creative way rather than being a bitter privateer that doesn't have enough support. You're finding ways to get people that probably would support you the same way people, use Patreon or whatever. You've kind of brought that to the privateer model.
That's actually cool. What it is. Yeah. Have you seen it?
So, I mean, I saw it on Instagram literally 5 minutes before we went on. I think you posted it an hour before that. So is that what you're using as Patreon?
Yes. So
that's
like,
awesome.
It's a link that goes from my website, and you can support as a sponsor, support as a fan. And then I also like just included like my PayPal and Venmo links if people want to just like do a one-time support deal. It's through Patreon because that's the one of the main ones that I've heard of from listening to podcasts and everything is a monthly support program, and that's what includes all the benefits that I'm providing, which comes like you can get your first and last name on my race bike as a fan supporter, or you can get logos and stuff like that on my jerseys and bikes as a sponsor.
That's awesome.
Free merch, free hats, free giveaways, signed autographed jerseys and number plates, all sorts of stuff. So it's like that's my biggest way that I take pride in is I'm not just going to random people and be like, hey, like I race motocross, can you give me money? It's no, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing it at a very professional level. And I present myself professionally. And if you want to be a part of my team, this is what you get in return, which that's what a lot of racers don't do is show people what they can get in return.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you definitely have a unique business-minded approach to it, and it works. Hey, we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up. We're going to talk a little bit about Pulp Fantasy and what that's done for the privateers out there, and we'll be back in just a minute. Fly Racing's 2021 line has been improved and expanded, offering the industry's widest range of moto and off-road products. Led by the revolutionary Formula helmet featuring Rheon technology, Fly Racing has taken big steps forward with the all-new Light Pant and Zone Pro goggle. It's going to debut this year at the Monster Energy Supercross by Justin Brayton and the Muck-Off Honda team. The Zone Pro goggle delivers premium performance from a brand you know and trust, fearless pursuit, Fly Racing. It's personally the gear that I wear. I've worn it moto, BMX, mountain bike. I've worn it and repped it for years. In my opinion, it's the best. Be sure to check out their goggle, their helmet, and all their gear. Fly Racing. Hey, big shout out to our friends at FMF. Little D and the guys are always doing some pretty exciting things, not just with the performance products, but man, they've got the coolest apparel in the game, and I want to give you guys an opportunity to get that at a little bit of a discount. If you go to FMF and pick up any gear you'd like, hats, shirts, whatever it is, upon checkout, if you enter the code MMP30, MMP30, you can get 30% off. So MMP30 at checkout and get 30% off your order on FMF apparel. All right, guys, welcome back. We got Kevin Moranz talking about just his unique approach to getting fans involved to help support his program, the value he's providing to sponsors. So I started playing Pulp Fantasy this year. I've listened to the podcast and followed it for the last 3-4 years, however long they've been doing it. I'd never got involved with it, but until this year. But the reason I would always listen was because it's the only piece of media content out there that consistently primarily focuses on the privateer. Yeah, they talk about, the factory, household name guys a little bit, but most of it in the skill in the game is following the Kevin Moranz, the John Shorts, the Jeff Walkers of the world. And it's been really cool, and I don't know that was Steve's intention. Maybe it was, because I know he does a lot for privateers, but it's been really cool the amount of awareness it gives to where, man, this year when I started playing, week 1, I chose you because I knew your name. Now, as a byproduct of that, I go and I start to follow all of these privateers that really, the Alex Rays and people like that, he's bringing more exposure to those guys than a Cooper Webb or a Ken Roxon, somebody that's a big name, but they're a big name because they are the top of from the athlete perspective. But guys like you, guys like AJ Catanzaro, that some of those guys aren't even making main events, but they've got this massive following, and a lot of it is because of Pulp. I'm sure from an athlete perspective, it's a double-edged sword because of what I'm saying, but you get these whack jobs that just go off because you ruin their fantasy team. What has Pulp Fantasy specifically done for you in your opinion? Has it helped, or is it more of an annoyance than anything?
No, I think it's definitely helped. I guess I've never really sat down and thought about it that way, but you are 100% right that they do talk about privateers more than they talk about the factory guys.
For sure.
So I think that's actually really cool. Steve's always been super great with me. He's had me on the show a couple times, and they like you said, they consistently talk about me in the fantasy situation. It does to an extent as a racer, and I literally know every other racer will agree with me that at least people that are kind of in the stakes of being able to get high points and stuff like that, is you'll get 10 messages or more per night. How we feeling tonight? We good for fantasy? Or what? I'm like, dude, I'm just worried about my race. I can care less about your fantasy. But
it blows my mind that people do that with you guys.
Dude, I know, but I love it. I does not bother me because sure. I'm gonna say, dude, I'm never gonna give up. I'm gonna try my hardest every time. And if shit goes south, obviously Tuesday round 2 it did. It's just part of racing. So
yeah.
I knew I had the speed, and I was obviously probably the fastest one in that LCQ, but sometimes mistakes happen. And then I got up, regrouped, got back into the transfer position, and just got completely cleaned out. So
yeah,
it's part of being in the LCQ, and that's why we don't want to be anymore in LCQs.
Man, It's really and I maybe this is coming from a guy that is the first year playing it, but like it has blown my mind how much I'm watching what's happening from 5th place back, even in the heat races, to where like I probably would never know who Josh Varese is, maybe for 3 or 4 more years if it wasn't for Pulp. And then like I picked you week number 1, worked out well, it was awesome. I couldn't pick you week number 2, but I'm still watching you because at that point we were already talking about you coming on the show. We were already talking about you coming on the show, so it was a little bit of that. But because of Pulp, I now have this feeling towards you to where I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch him and kind of see how he does, and I'm rooting for you even though you weren't on my team that week. So I don't know, man. I just think it's really interesting what it does for the privateer when it's a normal guy, when it's when it's an asshole that all he does is put out death threats because you messed this Pulp team up. We're not talking about them, but for the most part, man, it's been really unique to see the exposure that 5th on back that league has brought. So when you're in the pits, and obviously this is kind of a weird year because there's like hardly anybody in the pits.
Yeah.
Do you have people coming up to you and talking to you because of your social content, because of Pulp? Do you get that fan interaction because of the brand that you've built?
I get it more from I think something that obviously I have over a lot of other racers is, like you said, like my ability to be able to talk and have a conversation, but like just kind of like my personality, but just like being like a fun guy. Like I love talking to fans. I love interacting. Like I'm not just like a dude that just sits in the corner. So I get more conversations and more people coming up to me for that aspect, and just like being a this isn't for me to obviously judge, but just being a good kid and working towards my goals over being an asshole, like you said. But no, the Pulp stuff has really helped grow the fantasy situation, because like I always get people to come up like, hey, we're feeling good, like I saw you in qualifying, and everybody always comments on my qualifying because my qualifying is never super great, but I'm a racer. So no, it's sparked a lot of interest and sparked a lot of conversation, so I think it's nothing but positive for the sport. And like, because I've never played Pulp fantasy just because like I don't want to deal with it or think about it when I'm the one racing. Right. I know other racers will do that, and I'm like, that's the last thing I need to be thinking about. Doubt. But I play fantasy in like football, and it changes football for me because otherwise, because I'm from Kansas City, so I'd watch nothing but the Chiefs. But since I play fantasy, I watch all these other teams and I keep tabs on these people and those names. Just like you said, like you wouldn't pay attention to 5th through 10th, but now you do. So like it makes it a lot more exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Have you considered doing what's starting to get more and more popular now, which is just a daily vlog? I mean, you've got A-Mart, you've got A-Ray that's doing it, AJ's done it. Man, you've got the personality that's perfect for it. Have you considered trying to at least walk around with a camera and then find a fan that would be interested in editing that for you so that you don't have to mess with that? What are your thoughts on that?
So I actually enjoy doing the editing part. So like all my videos and everything are usually 100% edited by me. But like you said, like it comes to a time factor. Like trust me, I've edited a bunch of videos and stuff. I've done vlog stuff. Like when I went over to Germany and raced over there in 2019, like I love doing that stuff, and I'm actually doing that stuff already. So like that's one thing that's included with the Patreon stuff, and the way for fans and sponsors get involved is my vlog kind of video footage and everything I call it the behind the scenes stuff, is going to be available pretty much only for my Patreons and the people that are a part of my team. So that awesome. Creates extra incentive to have people come in and, cause like my lowest tier is like $5 a month. Like if you are a part of Kevin Moranz's program for $5 a month, you get all the extra content, behind the scenes footage and everything. So I'm trying to create some incentive there with that. But I've already done the YouTube, the vlogging stuff. I really enjoy that. And I would have to agree. Like I have a good personality for that and whatnot, but it comes down to the sheer amount of time that it takes to create quality videos. So that's why I don't do the YouTube as much and everything like that, is because I like to, it's tough for me just to throw stuff together and post it. I like to make my stuff look good.
Yeah.
So creating it through like for Patreons and whatever, it's easier for me to leave it as raw footage and, really cool behind the scenes stuff without it having to be super edited and
Sure.
perfect and everything like that. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, man, it's I'm gonna have to get on that then, because I think a lot of athletes are learning that fans can't get enough of the BTS, the behind the scenes vlog style content. I think Amart probably being one of the top guys that do it. It's awesome. Alex Ray's doing it, with AJ doing it, and you obviously you're doing it yourself. I mean, I think that is something that can be capitalized on a lot. And the bottom line is, like we were talking on the phone earlier today before the show, you've been getting a lot of TV time, and then you've got this brand online, and you've got this brand from Pulp, to where it's just this natural transition and progression for somebody to want to go seek those videos out. So you're a busy guy. I'm going to let you go, but tell us a little bit about how people can get involved with your program. Where can we find out more information? How can we sign up and get involved with that?
So the biggest thing is, if you guys want to check out everything that I just dropped and just kind of be a part of my team, head on over to kevinmoranz.com, and you can hit the Join Moranz Racing tab. You'll see that you can either join as a sponsor, as a fan, or you can just do like a one-time support deal. That's the biggest thing for me. If you guys want to follow my content, it's on Instagram, at least, it's moranz.85. And then if you're a part of the Patreon, or if you want to be a part of Patreon, or a part of my team, is the Instagram that you're going to see all the behind the scenes footage on is at Moranz Racing on Instagram. Facebook, you can find me at Moranz346, because Facebook won't let me change my name for whatever reason. But other than that, like, my biggest thing is I just really appreciate everybody who's a part of my program and who wants to be a part of my program, and people that just enjoy watching me. I invite you to go check it out. Go over to kevinmoranz.com, check it out. I'd love to see what you guys think about it. It's a creative little idea that I've never seen anybody do, so it's something that I'm kind of working into new territory. So I'd love to get some feedback, so I can make any changes, or if you guys like it, join it, be a part of it, and let's continue to grow. Yeah,
man. I appreciate you coming on. You're a good dude, and your personality is, man, it's perfect for what you're doing, and I'm cheering for you. It's been fun to watch you this year, and hopefully you have a banger season and can kind of keep climbing the ranks and progress up to a bigger ride. And man, we'd love to have you back on one of these days and kind of get an update on your season and your program. So I appreciate you taking the time for us today.
Yeah, for sure, man. Always call me. I'm 100% like down to do any social media, any podcast,
Awesome.
Anything to help me get my name out there and whatnot, and just to shoot the shit. I'm all about it.
Cool, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Moto Marketing Podcast. If your goal is to get real, measurable results from your marketing that will grow your company revenue, then check out how Impact Media can get the same results that they have for Moto's most iconic brands by visiting thinkimpact.com. That's THINKIMPAKT.com. Have a marketing question that you want answered on the show? Send your questions to questions@motomarketingpodcast.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast.